Islam, Shalom, Assalamu Alaikum, Hola, Aloha, Osio, Bonjour. This is your brother Zach Bey, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live and in full effect. Thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Hit that like, that thumbs up on the video. Help the algorithm. Leave a comment. Thank you for joining me. I want to continue on my topic on reparations. Three big questions that we can ask us as a nation or as a people or even individually that we can ask these politicians or potential candidates is, do you support reparations for American chattel slavery? That's one. Depending on how they answer that question, there's different ways we can proceed. I think the more straightforward and honest answer would be an actual answer to the question, whether you like what that person has to say or not, to be more favorable, or just to open up a dialogue. But another way is if someone, a potential candidate or politician, completely avoids the question altogether, if they sidestep it, if they play it off and answer something else without actually answering the question outright. I think that's more disingenuous, that's more dishonest. So I think that's really important. Number one, the first question is definitely ask any potential candidate or potential politician, anybody who's running for local office, state office, or federal. Definitely ask them that question. Do you support reparations for American chattel slavery? All right, that's question number one. Question number two is, what do you think those reparations should consist of or should be? All right, if they do answer that question, yes, that they believe in, that they do support the idea of reparations for American chattel slavery, what exactly should those reparations be? Some people speak in the forms of cash payments. Some people speak in the form of land allotments, land patents. Some people speak on education. Others speak on tax breaks and benefits, record expungements, housing, crime bills, as far as like anti-black hate crime. Yes, different things of that nature. I believe reparations could consist of all of those things, or should consist of all of those things, not just necessarily individual cash payments as a restitution, but as like the incorrect status that's been placed upon our people, misnomers, all the irreparable damage that has been done throughout generations, the redlining, unequal segregation, exclusion from the GI Bill, the Christian Black codes, 3/5 rule, 1-drop rules. A lot of these codes or practices, the Jim Crow, a lot of that was held and levied against our people here, the Indigenous Americans, so-called Black people. So what should those reparations consist of? What should they be? I think that's a very good secondary question. And thirdly, I believe a good question would be, who do you think should be responsible for stated reparations? All right, so the first, second, and then the third question, who do you think should be responsible? Or another way to phrase this third question is, who do you think shouldn't be responsible for paying said stated reparations? Whether or not you have they have ideas on who should pay it, or if they can strictly name who they believe shouldn't be responsible for said payments. I think that's a very good way to follow up that question. Whether or not they support it, what should it be, and who should be responsible for paying it. That's a great way to set up these questions and to actually get a dialogue open for any potential candidate, any potential ally for our said people. Because if someone is saying that they're ally and therefore so-called minority, so-called indigenous, Afro-Indigenous people, so-called Black people, African Americans, FBA, NIJI, any of these names that, the POC, people of color, if these people aren't specifically in our nation, but they said that they're allied to our cause, then I believe these questions should be answered. Because if these people aren't supporting reparations for American chattel slavery, then how much of an ally to us can they potentially be? Whether or not they only believe it should be for tax benefits or tax breaks or record expungements or certain tax exemptions or housing, healthcare, schooling, and therefore everything but cash payments, or maybe that they're strictly for land allotments and land patents. It would really open up a conversation to see who's really for us, who's really actually put some substantial thought into the idea of reparations, or if they were just taken back because you're not really allowing them to completely avoid the question. And if they do completely avoid the question, we hold them to that, as far as stating that they did not necessarily answer the question. All right. So I just wanted to go over that to continue on the conversation of reparations for chattel slavery, because there's been more elevated talk on these statewide. Different states have been doing studies. Of course, the conversation over there in California on the study they did, but of course the federal study, and why do they need to do said studies, and then the increase of the stated amount of reparations from, I believe, 14 trillion in potential owed to maybe 17 trillion. So from each individual, if there were an individual payment to be made, they were estimating about 350,000 per individual, but that was increased to 151 million per individual. Since these studies are going on, what could potentially be owed by the United States government or individual families. Yes, indeed. I really think this is an important conversation that should be had, and any candidate or potential candidate or politician who says that they are an ally, these should be some primary questions that our people do ask them as a block before we give our vote or our backing of any type of candidate. Once again, this is your brother Zach Bey, Indigenous American War. Thank you for joining me. Peace.